let's quickly get a quick survey. Who here are entrepreneurs? All right, that's 10% of the room. Who are capacity providers? Entrepreneurs are capacity providers. Okay, that's another 10-15%. And then the rest of you are here for interest. All right, but that's exactly the start of entrepreneurial mindset, is to explore and to try different and new things. Let me kick off by introducing you to the panel members. On my right-hand side, we have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, quick introduction. Why are you here?
I've been involved with Alan Gray Orbis Foundation on a project over the last 6 months, particularly looking at entrepreneurial mindsets, and I want to share an overview of it, what it means through the last 100 years, and what you can understand of entrepreneurial mindset going forward.
Seela Blee from the Korea Entrepreneurship Foundation.
Hi, my name is Celine from Korea Entrepreneurship Foundation. I'm here because we want to share what we do in terms of entrepreneurship education, because we have been doing the entrepreneurship education for the young people especially, but we want to expand the entrepreneurship education, especially mindset, to a wide range of people, not only the young people. So, and we've been doing this for 5 to 6 years, so we have to think of the measurement or evaluation seriously. So we want to get some tips from other panels and some ideas from you. That's why I'm here, so please ask me if you have any questions about the Korean entrepreneurship.
I'm Kelly Schaefer, and for those of you who are not in the most recent session, I have the privilege of, excuse me, I have the privilege of helping the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation with their entrepreneurial mindset project.
I think I have a microphone. Does it work?
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Johannes Linkner. I'm from Austria. I have 3 hats on my. The first one is I'm the head of the Department for Entrepreneurship Education. Doesn't work. Okay. My name is Johannes Linkner. I'm from Vienna, from Austria. I have 3 hats on my. The first one is I'm the head of the Department for Entrepreneurship Education at the University Teacher College. We are doing research, and the largest field research in whole Europe at the moment with 60,000 participants. The second one, I'm the Federal Coordinator of Entrepreneurship Education on behalf of the Austrian Ministry of Education. And the one, we have a project association where we are developing a lot of different entrepreneurship education learning tools for primary education up to upper secondary 2 education, and also for university teachers. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Johannes. So hopefully that will give you some confidence that we got the right skill and competence up on the stage to address some of the questions that already came from the audience, tools and techniques and measurement. Seela sort of expressed her interest in the very same field. How do we prepare young people? Johannes, who's been spending his entire career in entrepreneurial education. And then, of course, using entrepreneurial mindset to accomplish goals, which is really exactly what it's about. It's mindset. And entrepreneurial mindset doesn't really necessarily mean I need to be an entrepreneur to have an entrepreneurial mindset, or I have to own a business. It's generally reference to a way of thinking that's opportunistic in its approach, holistic, and at the same time lead us a balance for the purpose of value creation. And whether this is cultural value, social value, or economic value. The value creation part is what's most important. So we're going to kick off by very briefly giving you a bit of context in terms of how did we arrive here, and why is this important? Why is it that not only the foundation have decided to invest in this project, but at the same time, why is it a high priority item on the GERN agenda? We were fortunate enough last year to be hosted in Daegu in Korea, where this was a GERN agenda item in terms of how do we understand entrepreneurial mindset? How can we arrive at a point where we'll be able to measure this? And before that, first of all, the important part was to define it in a general sense that makes sense for not only the research community, but also makes sense for people on the ground, for entrepreneurship practitioners, for capacity developers, and then of course for entrepreneurs themselves. And earlier on in Cali Session, you've had some references and questions from how is this different whether I'm in corporate, how is this different if I'm in high impact entrepreneurship, or whether I'm running an informal business in an informal settlement. And it's certainly not about the action, but it's about the application of the action, and then of course about the value creation. So we're going to kick off with Emmanuel, who's going to take us through a very brief presentation. He's not going to cover all the slides, so we can also obviously make up the time. But the piece he's going to really focus on is sort of the evolution of mindset out of the field of psychology over the 100 years that he's just mentioned. He's not going to take 100 years to cover that, I'm fairly certain of that. Shortly after that, we're going to try and address some of these questions through general conversation by drawing on some of the expertise we have on the stage. Then we're going to continue with that interactive nature of the session to ensure that you get as much value from the diverse set of skills and competencies we've got on the stage. Are we all in agreement with that? Happy? Yes. With that approach? Lovely. Here we go. We're going to kick off then, Emmanuel. Over to you.
So I'm really excited to take you on a whirlwind tour in the understanding of entrepreneurial mindset, where it came from and where it is right now. And hopefully that will spark some other questions for you that we can bring into the discussion over and above what you've already put forward. For those who might want to get access to these slides, you can search on Twitter, hashtag AGOF, for Alan Gray Orbis Foundation, hashtag AGOF Mindset, all one word, and you'll have access to a link for these slides later if you want to go through the detail, because I'll have to touch on some aspects instead of going into all of the detail. So firstly, understanding entrepreneurial mindset. Well, what is it? Who has defined it? Well, many people have offered definitions. One of the most often cited definition, and just get the clicker working. There we go. Yes, there we go. Is by Alan Fayol from INSEAD. He said that entrepreneurial mindset is a specific state of mind which orientates human conduct toward entrepreneurial activities and outcomes. The challenge with that definition is a specific state of mind could be interpreted in 1,000 different ways. So what do we mean by that? What does that mean so that human conduct is orientated toward entrepreneurial activities and outcomes? So that brings us into, well, let's understand mindset a little bit more. Let's dive into that and look at that through a bit of a journey. So in 2006, the person who really coined the word mindset, Carol Dweck, in her paper with Malden, said that it is the view you adopt of both yourself and others, and it has a profound impact on your life and the decisions that you make. Another definition which I really like, and I'm going to dwell on this definition in conversation as I go ahead, is it's the internal lens through which you navigate life, with this lens influencing everything that you see and do. So what lenses do we wear that help us to see ourselves in a specific way and see others in a specific way? And when it's entrepreneurial mindset, how do those lenses either help entrepreneurial activity or prohibit or stop it from happening? So another quick way to look at it is just to look a little bit, very basic. This isn't theory, this is just a basic way of human ability. Let's look at the brain, let's look at how we function. Simply put, we're made up of who am I? Okay, it's the core of who we are. It's made up of personality, it's made up of values, attitudes, learned behavior, a range of internal aspects of who am I. Then there's aspects of what do I know? There's aspects also of what have I done and what am I capable of doing? What do I have competency to do? In a sense, that's a very simple view of us as human beings. Now looking at mindset, it's kind of, if those were lenses, what lenses do the who am I, what lenses do we interact with what we've done, what we know, what we're capable of? How do we see ourselves? How do we experience these different activities of our humanity in a specific way? And what's the best lens for that to happen for entrepreneurial activity to emerge on the other end? And that's really what we want to go through. So there's the timeline from the 20s, and there was research beforehand, right up until now, and quick whirlwind tour commencing. So the first part is one of the founders and where entrepreneurial mindset really came from was personality psychology. And Gordon Allport was one of the founders and the forerunners in that research after Freud and the founders of psychology before him. And he really said that personality is a dynamic organization within an individual of psychophysical systems that determine one's unique adjustment to the environment. Simply put, how we interact with our environment and some aspects that we're born with that are linked to that. He then defined 4,500 attributes of personality. So I'm not going to go through those 4,500 right now, but he started a thing called trait theory. One of the aspects of trait theory is he said there's an aspect called phenotypes and genotypes. Internal and external forces have an influence on an individual's behavior. Now, we just spoke about lenses, internal ones, and how we view external. So in a sense, he's speaking mindset before we even spoke about what it actually is or came up with the word. So he then, a guy called Fisk in 1949, took the 4,500 and came up with 22 through clustering and working with it. And then he used a process that Kelly will speak a bit more later called factor analysis to bring that down to 5. And those 5 were conformity, emotional control, social, being socially adaptable, having an inquiring intellect, and having confident self-expression. That then was further research in the 70s. What's commonly referred to as the Big 5 came up as the key summary of what personality is really made up of. So, as I said, I can't cover everything, but research happened. Specifically looking at entrepreneurs now, not just looking at people in general. Since the 1848, that entrepreneurs are risk-bearing, right the way through to 78. And I'll touch on these, and again, you've got access to the slides, characteristics of entrepreneurs. Some of them will have an impact on the mindset that you have. In the 80s, it moved beyond personality psychology. It said, maybe it's not just personality, there's more. And cognitive and social psychology was emerging. Cognitive psychology really about how we think and how that impacts our perception, memory, problem solving, language, human intelligence. And social psychology is how do our thoughts, feelings, and attitudes impact how we relate with one another and the assumptions we have about each other. And they then took this, and some key theories came out, which are very popular today. So the theory of planned behavior, another one called social cognitive theory by Bandura, and he also brought up self-efficacy, and we will be speaking later about entrepreneurial self-efficacy, right from the 80s. And then already implicit theories by Dweck again as to what are those theories we come up with about ourselves and others, and how does it impact how we work with the world. Again, lots of other theories that we've looked at that builds up part of the project that we're working on at the moment. So that goes into further challenges in the next decade. An interesting one, and I'm not going to touch, so continual research happened, but an interesting one to touch on is by Cunningham and Leschron in 1991. And they highlighted these areas as core to entrepreneurial behavior. The challenge is that they looked at schools of business globally, and none of them were focusing on those areas in order to develop entrepreneurs. So they actually then thought, well, there's a big disconnect between education for entrepreneurs, and they put forward what they called psychological characteristic school of entrepreneurship, and saying, well, how do we include drives, beliefs, attitudes, needs, values? How do we include that in entrepreneurial education? And they were one of the forerunners of that thinking. The next decade and the recent decade, more research happened, and this is an extensive research list, but there are, I'm sure, some places that we've missed. These were the big contributions, but in this, I wanted to touch on one of the biggest drivers of mindset, and that's Carol Dweck's work, along with Malden, to actually take what she started off in the 80s of implicit theory, and she called it mindset. And she then said, well, there's 2 core mindsets, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset really just looks at that all the attributes of how these lenses is fixed in concrete and nothing changes. And a growth mindset is actually everything's malleable, everything's changeable. And what lens do we see the world and ourselves through? And that lens impacts on how we deal with challenges, how we deal with obstacles. What is our view on actually putting in effort when it really gets tough? What is our view on getting criticism and dealing with failure? And how do we celebrate or get offended by the success of others? And a lot of work has been done on this, and just keep this in mind, because a lot of this does underpin a lot of the theories that come forward in entrepreneurial mindset too. In 2004, Barron asked some questions, which I think are great ones. Why do some people become entrepreneurs? Why do some people recognize opportunities more than others? And why are some entrepreneurs more successful than others? And this started a big process of not just looking at business theory, but looking into the behavioral sciences for answers. So his answers were all from the behavioral sciences. Perception of risk, prospect theories, signal detection theories, theories from years back that he started seeing as valuable ways to understand why entrepreneurs behave differently to non-entrepreneurs. A big driver for this is Sarasvati. She came up with effectuation. Now, effectuation, I'm going to spend a minute on it, but you can go back to the slides otherwise. It's really helpful. It's really looking at causal reasoning versus effectual reasoning. As an example, one aspect that you spoke about, if you're given a given means M, imagining possible new endings using a given set of means. So I've given this bunch of M's, and I'm imagining that it's going to end up getting to certain outcomes. Or I'm given a bunch of M's or ingredients, and I'm imagining one outcome. One of effectuation is if you're given resources, if you're able to think of many outcomes, it changes things, and that's one of the effectuation aspects. But she looks at this for affordable loss and risk.